Well, that's it. There we go. After 12 months with no aircon in the truck, running in 120 and 130 degree heat, we're out here in a 35 degrees Celsius day. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We're just starting the day and we've lost the gas in the aircon again. We'll just try and battle along and wind the windows down and keep ourselves cool. Oh, g'day Rock Hounds. Today we're heading off on a massive expedition up to the far north of Western Australia. We've got a 4,500k round trip journey to go on. We're going to one of our leases and we're going to hunt some dragonstone. I've got a lot of my customers that have been asking for it for a while. We've been trying to get out there, but for one reason or another we keep getting pulled away, and this week we're going to do it. We're going to get in and we're going to get it out.
Dragonstone's one of my favourite stones. To me, it's totally unique and so cool to work with. The name came about as a result of its unusual blue tinge, along with the patterns appearing like the scaly skin of a medieval dragon. It's actually a rare form of chromium-rich fishistic chert that's becoming an increasingly sought-after material by cutters around the world. It makes for some really beautiful carvings and jewellery. Now, we're not mucking around with time on this trip. We're going to head 1,000 k's north to an old mine site of ours to pick up the 6x6 truck. It's not all bitumen road, and the last part into the mine is a 20km goat track, which means we're even off-roading once we get there. We'll need to get in and out as fast as we can so we can load the truck back up and head a further 1,000 k's north to the Dragonstone mine. It's hidden amongst the stunning Chichester Ranges in Western Australia, and just like always, we can't drive right into it, so we're going to have to set up a base camp and we'll drive the machinery in. Now, it's real remote where we're headed, so food and water prep is absolutely vital to keeping us moving and safe. One of the best perks of the family business for me is Mum's camp meals. Her bacon and egg sandwiches make smokers a real treat on the road. But honestly, Mama Sox's key role in this campaign is actually keeping the show on the road. Road closures and floods can happen in an instant in the Outback, so it's so important to have a buffer of supplies just in case we get stuck or change our plans last minute. Hauling all these fridges and extra supplies is made super easy with our awesome little Fuso truck. We can load it all up without having to worry about too much weight. Now the food and water's out the way, we move on to the last check of the road train. While I'm finalising my paperwork, Mick and our trusty old Kelpie Whisper is going to give the rear trailers a last good go over. It's a constant check and recheck while we're setting up on these expeditions. Anything we catch now will save us time along the road. Once we're organised and Whisper's finally given the all clear and green light, we're on our way. It's an exciting and scary feeling leaving home base on these missions. You just never know how far along the road you're about to get. Sometimes I get a day down the track before something breaks, and others, I can't even get out the yard. It's one of those things in life you just accept.
Alright, this afternoon we're going to hit the road. We're going to try and navigate out of the city and try and dodge all the cars if we can. We've got the road train, so we've got to be pretty cautious, try and navigate through and get into the open road. Once we do that later this afternoon, we'll be cruising all through the night and eventually pulling up camp pretty late. But we've got about 300 k's of gravel that we're going to look to hit as well. So in the darkness, pulling the road train, we just got to take it easy and hopefully we don't have too many issues. So here we are, we've got the road train in a place called Woburn at the moment. We've been through some of the roughest road on Great Northern Highway, some real bumpy tracks, but we're going to have some coffee now and some sandwiches, and we're going to hit the road. We're going to get as far as we can tonight. We'll probably hit some dirt for about 200 or 300 k's, and yeah, we'll see how we go.
As we cruise further north into the bush, the towns are getting smaller and the roads more rough and narrow. We're leaving the city behind us tonight, and it reveals a sky full of stars most people don't ever get to see. But we have so far to travel over the next couple of days, we balance our need to make ground with safety and decide to pull up for the night. We often don't drive to a schedule, so being able to spot a place to pull off in the dark and set up our swags is an adventure in itself. The sun's risen a lot earlier than we expected out here, but we still managed to get a few hours sleep. We've got a lot of ground to cover today, so there's just enough time to get some warm coffee in us and roll out. It's really satisfying hitting the road before sunup. Being on your way, knowing daylight's still in front of you, it's setting up the day.
So we've been on the dirt road for a while, we've pulled up. We're just going to check our tyres, make sure there's nothing sort of stand out, that they're all still up with air and nothing sticking out. Just check our straps, make sure they're all tight. When we're travelling on that dirt road, we can't actually see our trailers behind us. So we're going by a bit of feel. So if it gets a little bit light, then we want to pull up and have a look and make sure we've got our rear trailer on. So in our last trip, we actually had a bit of damage on the dirt road. When we were travelling along, we got plastic covers on the wheel hubs. And actually a rock has come and hit it while we're driving, and all the dust has gone inside the bearings. And it's a bit of a problem. We pulled up pretty early and we saved it, but it was still costing us an hour on the side of the road repairing and cleaning and then covering it. So what we've done, we've put new covers on, but we're a bit worried that we're going to do more damage. So we've actually covered up with a bit of duct tape for the moment. You can see the duct tape's tearing away a little bit, but it's actually giving a pretty good protection at the moment at the hub covers. But every time we pull up, we just have a look, make sure it's all secure and there's no holes yet, and hopefully we catch any incidents along the way.
The thing about hauling in Australia, it's hours of endless travel. It's like a never-ending ribbon of asphalt and dirt. That occasional pit stop helps break up the cycle before hitting the road once again. As we're starting to close in on our first milestone and collect our 6x6 truck, these distances and the vastness of the Outback are never more evident. We finally make it to Mooka Springs, where our off-road truck's been sitting since our last expedition. It's never that easy though. It's still across a river and 20 k's down a bush track before we can even get to it and load it up.
Well, we pulled up to the river. We're just about to go into a mine site, and we've got some river crossings to go through. So we're going to make it a bit easier on our little 4x4 truck. We're going to let the tyres down, get a bigger footprint and some more traction. So what we have here is a King's inflator and deflator. It's a pretty good unit, pretty economical, but unfortunately there's a few fails. So we've actually modified a little bit more for our use, and it just makes it easier when we're letting the tyres down. So we've added a couple taps and extra Nido fitting. That way we can actually, when we disconnect the hose off one tyre, it doesn't let the air out of the other. One of the failings of a lot of the deflators. So yeah, just a simple little addition with a fitting and a tap, and now we've got a really good unit to let the tyres down.
It's really important to run your tyres at the right pressures for the terrain. We've dropped our tyres down on the fuso to give us more traction crossing the dry riverbed, but also allows us to just crawl over the sharp rocks at really low speed. We still have to navigate this goat track to get into the mine site, where we can finally collect the monster military truck I'm calling Old Smoky, and you're going to find out why when we get there.
Here we are, we have a beautiful sunny day in the Outback, Australia. We've just come out to site to pick up one of our machines. We've got a 6x6 truck that we recently brought in from the US. It's a BMW M932A2. It's an ex-military truck from the US. At the moment we've got what they call a blow-by problem. So a little bit of the oil's getting past the rings and burning off, and it's blowing out the top of the engine. So we've got a little bit too much smoke going on. We're just having a look at it now. Hopefully it's nothing internal. Because the truck's been sitting for a little bit longer than we like, we're hoping that it's a bit of a carbon problem. So we're going to run a little bit of additive through the engine, give it all a nice little clean up on the road, see if we can't get it freed up in there and get a better seal, and hopefully we might be able to fix the problem easily. Apart from that, if that doesn't work, then once we get it back to our yard in Perth, we might be able to sort of take the head off and have a look and see if there isn't a problem with the rings.
So while we're letting the additive work its magic on Old Smoky, we're going to start setting up to get loaded and on our way. The sun's going down and the pressure's on to get this done before it's gone. It's an absolutely massive truck, so Mick and I work as a team to get it on the trailer as even as we can. It makes for a really tight fit though, because we still need to have room for that backhoe as well. Every load's going to be different, so we're going to adjust the weight back and forth as we're putting it on the truck to make sure we get the right weights on the front and rear axles and don't get any surprises up the track. Balance is definitely key. If we add too much weight on a particular set of wheels, they're going to heat up along the road and blow.
Alright, we've got the sun going down, we've got a little bit of light left, but we managed to get the truck and backhoe onto the trailer for the moment. We're going to go into the dark, we've got to put our head torches on, and we're going to actually strap it down. We had to manoeuvre it to get our weights right on the rear axle and front axles. We've done pretty well. So we'll get it all chained down tonight. We'll start cooking some dinner, we'll have a good rest, and then we'll hook up and get going tomorrow.
Well, it's our second night sleeping rough and the rhythm of the road is really starting to kick in. Time passes so differently out here in the bush. You tend to let the work, miles and the setting sun decide the pace. As Mick gets the stakes on and starts one of his famous camp cookouts, it's hard not to contemplate what tomorrow will bring as we take another step forward towards the Dragonstone mine. Mick and I have run over the plans so many times for this expedition, but as we start to get closer, we plan and discuss some ideas that may just help if things pop up that we didn't expect. It's now the crack of dawn and we've got so many miles ahead of us today. Once we've done our pre-checks on the oil and water, it's time to get the road train rolling. I've spent a lot of time around these rigs, but when you see a road train carrying a military 6x6, a backhoe and a tipper trailer, well, even I'm impressed by its sheer size. As we start to move on the road again, the 60 tonnes we're hauling at this point is making itself be felt. As long as I can keep this old Mac growling, we'll tick those kilometres off. Having that huge amount of added weight now takes a lot of extra winding up. But once we're at speed, this old girl can hold steady and we can just take it all in. This really is such beautiful country.
Well, that's it. There we go. After 12 months with no aircon in the truck, running in 120 and 130 degree heat, we're out here in a 35 degree Celsius day. It's 10 o'clock in the morning. We're just starting the day and we've lost the gas in the aircon again. So looks like the next 12 months is going to be the same thing again. We're just going to battle through it. We're heading into a 40 degree day tomorrow. We'll just try and battle along and wind the windows down and keep ourselves cool.
With the cab of the truck now like a sauna, we're sweating our way through hundreds of kilometres of bitumen ahead of us. I'm praying for some relief as the sun drops on the horizon. Albeit a little closer than yesterday, today's setting sun means our third night on the road, and we're still not even close to the Dragonstone mine. The rays of sunlight and roar of passing road trains will have us rolling out of the swag soon enough. As we search for caffeine, it's a perfect time for a laugh and a few smiles. Mick and I will find something to laugh over, even if it's something that's gone wrong. Once we give those vehicles another once-over, we'll set back out on the road. We're slowly inching our way into the magnificent Pilbara region. The landscape transforms in character and topography before our eyes into this unmistakable beauty that this part of Australia is now famous for. It also means we're getting to the end of the highways and dirt roads that have taken us this far. From this point, we have to start making our own tracks. As much as we want to get into base camp, we still have to tread lightly, as we have a heap of weight and the length of this road train truly makes it tough if we take a wrong turn and have to turn back.
Well, here we are, day 4 in the hunt for Dragonstone. We've gone as far as we can go on our access track. We're about 20 k's out still though. Bit of water damage on our track in, so what we're going to do at this stage, we're going to break the trailers down. We're going to get Mick in the backhoe, take it off, and then follow along in front. We're going to hitch the trailers back up, and he's just going to tidy a few of those water courses up as we go along. We'll try and pull it through another few k's to where we want to camp, and then we'll try and make our way actually into the Dragonstone before the sun goes down, take a look, and then hopefully collect some rock.
As we navigate down this old track, it takes a huge amount of focus. The regrowth really stands out, and rather than clear the old trails, we're just going to manoeuvre around the trees and stumps and hope we don't slice our tyres.
So here we are finally, we're at where we want to set up camp today. Mick's been in the backhoe clearing the way for me in the road train. We're going to set up camp here. It's an old exploration camp. It's been rehabilitated. We've used it a few times for loading. It wasn't that long ago. The regrowth is pretty good. We're going to try and not disturb too much of it if we can. Park the truck up. We'll have to make a little bit of pad where we're going to camp and where we're going to load the truck. But that'll help break the ground up anyway. When we leave, it'll start natural regeneration anyway. Yeah, we'll just continue to use this as our base.
It's been an epic journey to get this far, and what better way to celebrate than with a greasy bush sandwich. It gets a bit rough out here sometimes, as you can tell by my beautiful clean hands, but I tell you, a little axe of grease never hurt anyone. And in fact, I've been told by many a tourist it tastes just like Vegemite. Mick always loves when I put some love into my sandwiches, but at the end of the day, at least we have some of his cooking to look forward to. So as the sun starts to set over our first night at base camp, there's just enough time to unload the trucks. We'll set up camp before the creepy crawlies come out and that stunning Milky Way lights up our night sky. It's gonna be a big day tomorrow as we make our push into the Dragonstone mine itself. We've come such a long way to get this close. It's taken 4 days and it seems like almost endless miles to get to this point. So make sure you join us for part 2 and see if the elusive Dragonstone haul makes the expedition worth all the effort.